Good morning here. It's Tug here. I'm just going to read out some author's edition of Tug's Trek. Uh, Here's the prologue. It's called The Boss Swings By. The distant cloud of dust signaled company on the way, fast. The dirt road from the farm store off the main highway served as my early warning system. No one arrived unannounced unless on foot. Judging by the swirl of red haze, whoever was coming didn't give a damn about corrugations or stones. From the deck, I watched the black shape grow through the shimmer of midday heat. A late model Range Rover, government issue. I moved down to the open gate and waited. Two men stepped out, dark suits, Ray-Bans, shaven heads gleaming in the sun, fit, precise, the kind of men who didn't waste words. Their jackets bulged slightly at the shoulders, sidearms, no doubt. "Good morning, sir," said the driver with a practiced smile. "We've come to see Mr. Tug Morkel." "That would be me," I replied, shaking his hand. "How can I help you?" He nodded to his companion, who joined us. Both men had that effortless air of authority. Black Range Rovers were government trademark. The president's bodyguard detail used them like taxis. "We bring greetings from the office of the president, Comrade Robert Mugabe," the driver said, voice clipped, English polished in some British boarding school. "He wishes to ask a favor of you." My internal radar went up. Mugabe asking me for a favor? For a moment, I half expected a hidden camera crew to jump from the bush, but instinct told me to play along. "In 2 weeks," he continued, "the comrade president is due to officiate at the opening of the new D.A.P.P building next to your farm." I offered them cold cokes. They accepted with gratitude, clapping twice, shone a custom, and asked politely after my family. The D.A.P.P building had risen like a pair of alien towers beyond our own packing sheds. The Danish NGO's idea of development aid. They helped the guerrillas during the war, then returned with foreign funding to build a better Zimbabwe. I even laid the first brick, a neighborly gesture that now seemed naive. "There's no suitable landing site near the buildings," the messenger said. "But we're advised there's space on your land. The president requests you prepare the area." Request? Right. Their tone made it plain. It wasn't a request, it was an order. "We'd like to inspect the site," he added. I took them to the area and noted their requirements. An hour later they left, assuring me my cooperation would be appreciated, whatever that meant. That night I told my father Rex. Though he had passed the reins to me, the farm still answered to him. "The president's office came by?" I said. He frowned. "What do they want?" "They want me to cut a landing zone for his helicopters." "You mean they told you to?" He took a slow drag on his cigarette. "Do we have a choice?" I shrugged. "Don't think so." He exhaled the smoke through the lamplight. "Then we better do it." The next 2 days were a blur of dust, diesel, and nerves. This wasn't just a VIP visit. It was Mugabe. The most powerful man in Africa was about to land on our soil, and I couldn't afford a single thing to go wrong. On the morning of the visit, I woke early, restless from a night of broken sleep. I kissed Jane to tell the girls I loved them, and stepped into the dawn. The African sunrise painted the farm gold. I lit a cigarette, listening to birdsong, that familiar chorus that starts every day in the bush. Zulu, my Rottweiler, nudged my leg, eyes pleading to come along. Not today, boy, I said, giving his head a final pat. I kicked my old Honda 175cc into life and tore down the dirt track towards the landing zone. My first job was to dampen the area, keep the dust down for the choppers. But the irrigation pump, faithful for years, chose that day to die. Cursing, I fetched my toolbox. An hour later, it coughed back to life, but I'd lost time. No shower, no change of clothes, just sweat, grease, and the rising hum of an approaching convoy. The crowd grew fast, soldiers, villagers, party faithful. Armored vehicles took up position. For a man who claimed the love of his people, Mugabe travelled like he expected ambushes. When the helicopters finally appeared, white presidential Huey and green gunship in tandem, I felt my pulse hammer. The rotors bit the air, blasting dust across the LZ. The president of Zimbabwe had arrived. He stepped out, immaculate, dark suit, ZANU-PF tie, the lavender scent, and that small, sharp moustache. I braced myself. He reached out. Hello, Tug. Welcome to Shamba, sir, I replied. His eyes flicked uneasy. I realized too late. To call it Shamba as mine was a mistake. I'm sorry, sir. The irrigation pump failed this morning. I didn't want to be late. He smiled faintly. Do not worry. I thank you for letting us land safely and for being good to my people. My people? The words hung heavy. For a moment, I believed his warmth. I even asked him once to sign a portrait for me to go bedside, my Ian Smith autograph. But the pump delay had robbed me of that chance. If you ever wish it signed, he said, contact my office. I thanked him, unsure whether it was flattery or warning. When he spoke from the podium, his voice was rich and hypnotic, English and Shona interwoven, charm and venom in equal measure. But as his tone rose, something changed. Rage bled through the polish, fists clenched, words sharpened. It wasn't a speech, it was a sermon of hate. He railed against colonialism, the whites, Tony Blair, all of it. The crowd roared in ecstasy, and there, in the glare of the African sun, I saw it. The mask slip. The cultivated gentleman vanished, and something darker stood in his place. By the time he turned to leave, his eyes found mine again, cold, calculated, brimming with loathing. I felt it in my bones. That night back at home, I told my father and Jane, that man worries me. There's something wrong with him, something unhinged. I think he'll become dangerous. I didn't know then how right I was. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the prologue. The boss swings by. Stay tuned for chapter 1 of Tug's Trek, a memoir of moral injury. Thank you. Like and subscribe.